Application engine. Yesterday we discussed about the structure. We observed a tree-like structure like this in a program flow. Program, section, step and action. Now, if we open the program, this is our program we created yesterday, a test sample program. Here, 4 attributes: program, section, step and action. Among these 4 attributes, first attribute is the program. This is the program. A record has properties, page has properties, program has properties. You can give your own description and comments for better understanding for what purpose you created this program. State record. There is a tab, state record. What it is? It's a work table to pass values from one step action to another. We have a number of steps and actions, sections, steps and actions involved in our program. It's a state record. It's nothing but a record. Simply, we can say it's a record in PeopleSoft. We have to build the record in the application engine. We have to create the record in the application designer. Each application engine can have one or more state records associated with it. First of all, first point, it's a work table to pass values from one step to another, one action to another. Why? What is such type of requirement? Have you observed here? In this do select, if I am writing a statement, select employee ID name from the employee table. Simple, a simple statement like that. Select employee ID name from employee table. Then it may retrieve 100 rows or 1 row, more than a row. Yes. You would like to use the selected data in PeopleCode. You would like to use the selected data in PeopleCode. Selected data in the sense, yes, I selected some data. I have 10 employees retrieved in the do select. I would like to use those 10 employees and I would like to create a file. Do select is an action, PeopleCode is an action. In between, how can I pass the values? 2 different actions. In one action, you are collecting the data. In one more action, you would like to use the data, whatever you collected in the previous action. How can I? You have to use a state record to pass values in between the actions and steps. Okay. Let us say, in this do select, I have written select employee ID, comma name from PS underscore some table. I used this table name. Okay. Then I written this statement here. When I would like to pass values from do select to PeopleCode, what's my state record structure? My state record must and should hold 2 fields, employee ID and name. Simple. Yes. Without having those fields in its state record structure, how it will pass. That's why okay, you will create a state record. Simply, I am creating a record. I am creating a field, employee ID. I am adding a field, name. Otherwise, first name. Okay, I added. Then fine. Next. Each application engine can have one or more state records associated with it. Venkat, why? Here in the application engine, you are having a do select. Here you are getting employee ID and name and you are passing the values. In step 2 also, you are having the same structure. Here I am selecting select department ID, job code from job. Can I pass these two values with this state record? No, it's not possible. Then here in step 1, I would like to pass in between these two actions. Yes, I need a state record. In between these two actions, yes, I need a state record. Scenario might occur. That means the scenario might be occur. You need one or more state records. State record can be SQL table or work record. Why? Two options. SQL table and state work record. We know about both of them. What is a work record? What is a SQL table? What is work record? It won't have any existence in the database. SQL table, yes, it's a database object. Now I am getting it out. In which are all the scenarios we can use SQL table as a state record? In which are all the scenarios we will use work record as a state record? Yes, work record as a state record we will use in the non-restartable application engines. SQL table as a state record we will use in the restartable application engines. Restartable application engine, I told you yesterday, restartable means we have to maintain a checkpoint to restart the application engine. That's it. A program can have 0 to many state records. That means it's not mandatory every each and application engine program should have one state record. No. Whenever your app engine is expecting to pass values in between the actions, then only we will choose the state record is the option for that. Now, we discussed about the state record. How it will pass the value? By simply creating a record, it is passing the value. Okay, come here. How we will create a state record? Whenever you are creating the state record, my first suggestion, choose the record type. Second option, add the first field as process underscore instance. That means here, insert process underscore instance. That is the field, first field. Better to make it as a key also. Next, add the remaining fields, what you require. Last option is save the record with name with extension as underscore AET. You know, it's mandatory. It's not suggestion, it's mandatory. System identifies it's a state record with this extension. Save it. Okay, let us say derived record. Save it. Okay, sample 80 something underscore 8, it's must. You know, when did we created the state record? But we have to link the state record to this application engine. Where? Here in the properties, go to the state records, add the property GEE. You know, we created number of tables under the GEE prefix, but it is showing only one. Why? Because only one record has extension underscore AET. Add. Even if you get a list, all the records in the search must and should have AET, 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 AET. If there is no AET as extension, then it won't understood. It's a state record. It won't recognize, first of all, it's a state record. Venkat, you told me one more state record also. How can I? Simply go to the properties, just think in a way, this is one more state record. You created, add it. Venkat, by adding simply in the properties, it will pass the value in between the actions? No, not at all. Whenever you're selecting the data, you have to write a statement. Select employee ID, comma name. Venkat, you used the first name as a state record structure. Okay, then fine. First name. Venkat, here you are using the name. Here you are using the first name. These two are the values. These two are the fields within the state record. These two are the fields within this table. Then Venkat, here we are getting the name. We are passing the name into the first name. Is it okay? If these two field parameters are okay, I'm okay. That means name 50 characters, first name 50 characters. Then fine. It won't create any issues for me. Percentile select, what it will do? It will capture each and every row selected by the select statement, fetched by the select statement, and it will pass the selected values into state record. Then in the people code, Venkat, how can I use it? Directly, AET record, employee ID value. AET record, first name. Venkat, if this select statement is fetching 100 rows, then how it will behave? Very important question. If the select statement is fetching 100 rows, it is not bothered about all 100 rows. It will fetch first row. It will process the people code. Once it was done, it will fetch the second row, process the people code. Third row, process the people code. Like that, it's a loop. It will create a loop. It will create a loop. That means it's a row by row processing. If you are using a do select and people code combination, you are using the state record to pass values from do select, then it's a row by row processing. It won't matter even it's a 1 lakh data fetch in the do select, doesn't matter. It will fetch row by row, row by row, row by row, row by row. That means, Venkat, in the step 1, in the do select, you written percentile select, employee ID and first name. Here also, I can write in the second do select, department ID, comma job code. No, it's wrong. Why, Venkat? Those two are the state records. I am also accepting. But have you observed? Only one state record is default, not all. Only one default state record is checked here. Then, Venkat, what is the difference between a default state record and non-default state record? Default state record, if you choose in one record, one state record as a default state record, system can understood the structure of the state record and it will pass the values by default. Now, if it's a non-default state record, you have to pass the table name like this, dot. It's an entry question. Maybe you will face a question in interviews. What is the difference between a default state record and a non-default state record? Default state record, no need to give a record reference to pass the values at the time of selection, but here in the non-default state record, you have to pass the values. Very, very important stuff, the state record. We will use in our practice, 100% we will use. Please keep in mind. Next, temp tables. Temporary records enable set processing. Foundation for parallel processing. Temporary tables are not temporary. Yes, those are not temporary. You know, we observed number of record types. Last one is the temporary table. This temporary table we will use in our application engine processing. What is meant for parallel processing? Here, if you open your application engine, you have one more tab, temp tables. You have instance count. Now, whenever you are preparing a parallel process, what is parallel processing first? You are designing one application engine. You have designed already. In that application engine, it's taking, you are processing 1 lakh rows. Just imagine 1 lakh rows. Very complicated data. It is taking 10 hours of time. Just imagine, it won't take much time. 10 hours of time. Then you would like to consume less time to run the app engine. Then there is an option, parallel processing. You can divide the 1 lakh rows into 10 instances. Instance is nothing but, it's a replica of the original table load. You will create temp table instances. Original instance is running 9 instances for this temp table. You add it. This is your temp table. Just imagine. This temp table is nothing but into which table you are loading the data. It's just a replica of the table. And you are creating 9 more instances. One instance is already running. You are creating 9 more. Totally 10. You can divide equally 10,000, 10,000 into each and every instance. Whenever you run this application engine, this temp table, this application engine parallelly open 10 instances and it will load the data into the table, database table. It may consume less time in this way, but I will explain you the temp tables in a different session. Please ignore it. Last and final option in the program properties, advanced. Disable restart. Every application engine is itself restartable. It is restartable. You don't want to build a restartable application engine. Then fine, disable the restart. You have to manually check this checkbox. Disable restart. Application library. Okay, as of now, we created this application engine program. In this application engine program, you can rename your section 1, you can rename your section 2. But you can't rename the section main. But you decided if it's an application library, that means now onwards it's not an application engine. If you clicked on OK, it will ask to rename the section main. That means it's not a application engine right now. It's now onwards it's application library. Last one is the batch only. If I choose my application engine program is a batch only application engine program. Batch only means, I already told you in yesterday's session, we have 2 types of runs. Batch run, online run. Online run is in the sense, whenever you are on the online page, you can run the application engine from your online page whenever you clicked on the push button, like this. In your program, in your online page, yes, this is the push button. Whenever I clicked on the push button, you can call the app engine. This is called online run. Those type of runs are not possible if you decided your App Engine program is batch only App Engine program. That is not possible. If you have not selected this option, then you can run it as a batch program or from online. Program type: standard, upgrade only, daemon only, import only, and transform only. 100% as a developer, we will work on the standard application engine program only. You can go ahead and read the definitions about all the remaining in the people book, but I am 100% assuring you won't work on other application engine program types. All these are the program properties. We have the next attribute, section. Next attribute is section. You can give your own description for the section based on what logic you created this section. Market, 100% it's global. Please don't change it. By default, it is global. Platform, by default, it is default. Please don't change it. Why? Because if you are designing any application engine, especially for your database, otherwise you can leave it. Effective date, based on this effective date, you can choose your program is active or inactive. You can choose a future effective date, you can make it as inactive. That means from that particular future date, the program is inactive. You can make the future date active also. Depends on your choice. Section type is prepare only or critical updates. Preparation only is the option we will choose. Sorry, by default it is the option. We will go ahead with that. Critical updates, mostly some of the application engine programs written by some DBS, then they will choose the critical updates. But no need to choose from our side. No need to choose from our side. Very, very important option, auto commit. You know one thing, yesterday also I told you, when the application engine program can commit, whenever all the sections and steps completed successfully. Now what I am doing, auto commit after step. When I decided like this, when the step 1 is completed, system will issue the commit. Step 2 completed, system will issue the commit. Step 3 completed, system will issue the commit. Based on what? In section level, I choose in commit must and should be done after step completion. That's it. Commit point, the basic commit, the standard commit, default commit applied in the program level. That means all the steps and actions completed successfully. But here what I am doing, in the section level, I am choosing auto commit after each and every successful step. That means after each and every step completion, system will issue the commit. Venkat, what is the scenario? Maybe in the step 1 you are populating some tables. You are loading data into some tables. You should commit that. Why? Because I would like to use the loaded data in the step 2 or step 3. You should commit first here. Then next option is public access. Yes, the public access is chosen for the main section. Section 1, the public access is not chosen. The public access is not chosen. That means this section 1 can be called within this application engine program. We can't call the section 1 from other application engine programs. That's it. Public access means we can call this section logic from other application engines also. All these are the section properties. Step. You can give your own description for the step. You can give your own description for the step name. Important option. Commit. 3 options. Default, later, after step. Default means it will follow the parent commit. For the step, parent is section. Step commit is defaulted. It will look for the section. Is any commit defined at the section level? Then it will go ahead and fire. Venkat, there is no commit chosen at the section level, then the step will wait to App Engine complete. If it's chosen in the section level after step is chosen, then step 1 will be committed by using this default option. Venkat, I chosen in the section level after step. Later I chosen in the step 1. That means even though I decided to commit each and every step completion, but in the step 1 completion I don't want to commit. That's why I chosen later. Later means commit will occur after next successful commit calls. When the next successful commit calls? Step 2. It is defaulted. Defaulted means auto commit after step. That means step 2 will commit. At this point of time, step 1 will also commit. But because I take a hold on the commit for step 1 by choosing later option. Venkat, I have not chosen after step in the section level. Can I commit only step 1? Yes, after step. Not all the steps, only step 1 I would like to commit. Then fine, choose only that particular step, not in the section level. You can do that. Commit points. Yes, it's an interview question. How many areas, in how many places you can commit the App Engine? Program level commit, it will occur, it will by default. Section level commit, here we can decide the commit after each and every successful step completion. Next, commit after in the step level. We can choose three different options in the commit. It's a default commit, later, after step. Now, frequency. Have you observed one point here? In step 1, frequency is enabled. Step 2, it is enabled. Step 3, step 4, step 5, it is disabled. Why? Frequency, it belongs to the looping action. In step 1, looping actions are there. What are the looping actions? Do while is a looping action. Do select is a looping action. Do until is a looping action. One of the looping action is there, then yes, do select is there. That's why frequency is enabled. Here, no looping action. That's why frequency is disabled. What is frequency, Venkat? It belongs to the restartability. It belongs to the commit. If my do select is fetching thousands of rows, lakhs of rows, here I am deciding, I am creating an interval 500. After every 500 successful iterations, I would like to commit. This is the checkpoint for restartability. If you are if you are designing a restartable application engine program, you have to maintain a checkpoint in the frequency. Yes, otherwise there is no checkpoint. You have to maintain the checkpoint manually. Restartability means 100% if it's a looping action, then only for a restartability. Next, on error, you receive any error in the step, abort, 100%, abort. That means, aborting in the sense, whenever you are receiving any error, you are closing the program, you are erroring out the program and you are coming out. That is the best option. Ignore. You will continue the program with errors. All the errors will be written in the log file. Sometimes it is suggestible. Suppress. You will continue the program with errors. Even it won't write the errors in the log file. Even I don't know why they created this option. But I am suggesting abort it whenever you are receiving any error. Active. Step 1 is active. That's why in the program flow, step 1 is enabled. Step 1 is firing. If I remove active checkbox for the step 1, go to the program flow. Step 1 is not firing now. That means you can choose, you don't want to delete. That means now onwards, this logic you don't want to fire, then don't delete the step 2. Make it as inactive. Maybe in future, if you would like to enable it, you have to write it again. That's why just active or inactive the step. Simple as that. All these are the step properties. Now, coming to the action properties. Have you observed one thing here? In the action properties, do when, you can write your description by own, but this is the property. Reuse statement is the property for do when. Do while reuse statement is the only property. Do select reuse statement. SQL reuse statement. Do until reuse statement. One common property for 5 actions. Do when, do while, do select, SQL, and do until. 5 actions has one common property. Reuse statement. What is that reuse statement? Reuse. By default, the reuse always it will shows no default. You know one thing, in the application engine section, step and action properties, most of the times 90% we will go with the default options. Very rarely we will change the options. No means it tells the system that the SQL statement is to be recompiled every time. Whenever it is looping, it should be recompiled every time. Yes means, reuse is yes means, it tells the system doesn't require recompilation. Last option is the bulk insert. Generally, the bulk insert we will use only at the time of inserting the data. Bulk load, insert into the statement is there in that SQL, and you are trying to target a bulk load. That means it won't commit for each and every line. It will commit all the rows at a time. Bulk insert. Only the bulk inserts. But you can go with the default statement. No. One more option in the SQL. Do when is completed. Only one property. Do while is completed. In SQL, we have one more option. No rows. No rows is written from the SQL statement. We have 4 options. Continue, skip step, section break, abort. No row is returned based on the logic. Your logic is perfect, but there is no row available in the database which is satisfying your SQL statement. Then fine. No problem, continue. But some of the times, you may get a requirement like, Venkat, if there is no row written in the SQL, in this section, in this step, then no need to continue in the step. Skip the step. Okay, fine. Choose this option. When there is no row written, then no need to execute the section logic. Then break the section. Abort very occasionally. If there is no row written, I'm considering it's an error. Depends on your choice. But by default, it's continue. Next, people code. Yes, 100%. People code on written. Any error, please go to the abort. Next, log message. As simple as that. The log message set number, message number. Do when, do while, do select. We have one special statement in the do select. Do select type. 3 options. Select, fetch, reselect, and restartable. Please listen carefully here. If your by default option is do select type is select fetch. No restart facility. You know, if you would like to design a restartable application engine, in that application engine do select is there. Option do select type must and should be restartable, not select fetch. Why? Because if you choose in the select fetch, there is no restart facility. No commit allowed in the middle. But if your application engine is a restartable application engine, then choose the restartable in the drop down. Reselect you, it won't use much. Select fetch and restartable. Whenever you are preparing a restartable application engine, please keep in mind your application engine state record must and should be SQL table, your looping action, should be there, and you have to maintain the frequency for a checkpoint manually, and the do select type is restartable. Call section, one more action is there, call section. Whenever you are using the call section, program ID and section name, the call section. The dynamic call section is different. I will explain you in the upcoming discussions. Program ID and section name. Yes, we know about it. We already used it yesterday. With this discussion, we completed the program properties, section properties, step properties, and action properties. Next, we will start the App Engine practice. From tomorrow onwards, we will start the App Engine practice. Any questions so far?